Blue Bloods Thursday. Got a good show for you tonight. Right around the corner is Mr. College Football. Good night to have him because Tim Tebow was just voted something very special. He was very special, but this is awesome. We'll get Tony's take on that. We've also got a report from the final open practice in Gainesville. It's on GatorBaitMedia.com. Eddie Gilly wrote it. We'll tell you what went on there. You can't see much in 9 minutes, but he did a good job of that. We'll tell you about that. Also, Franz Beard joins us tonight. Lauren Meadows, we're stacked with good people. So come and join us. Talk to us. Tell us what you think. Go on the message boards. Write a note. We'll love to have you share with us. And we're coming right back with Tony Barnhart after our open. Tell your friends and neighbors right now to go to their computers because the Buddy Martin Show is about to be on the air tonight as we are with you 3 nights a week. Stand by.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Well, good evening and welcome to the program, the Buddy Martin Show. I am he, and I'm glad to be with you tonight with my friend Tony Barnhart, as well as others. A little bit to talk about tonight as we're getting close. My goodness, is it 2 weeks away? I believe it is. Let's go talk to Mr. College Football right now. Great to see him again, as I did recently at his big party up in Gainesville with everybody, all the celebrities. It was a great night to be with Tony and me and his wife, Mr. College Football, and Maria, and it's good to be back with you. Tony, thank you for the invite and opportunity to MC that event.
Buddy, that was so much fun. We're still talking about it in the Barnhart household, and it is good a chance to spend some time with Coach Jaburia and Jerry, and thank you for all you did to make it happen. And no one would believe I've got this many Gator friends, but I do.
It's almost unnatural. You know, it's like me going to Atlanta and seeing Buck Bellew and Herschel Walker and all those people. But, you know, you've always had a great relationship, as I said. And as Coach Spurrier said, Tony Barnhart, the greatest sports writer outside the state of Florida. So that's a high compliment for him.
I kept telling Coach, I know there's a compliment in there somewhere. I'll find it. So.
Well, you know what it means. He has a high regard for you. So talked to him yesterday, matter of fact. So here's the deal. Just so happened to fall this way. I'm not much on these all-time teams and going back and trying to figure out who was the greatest back in the day, because you and I have seen these things. They're all great, and they all have their moments. They all have their day. You can't compare eras, but we do it because that's what we do, right?
Right.
But there is one today. It's timely with you because you've had such an impact on the game. And today, the AP named Tim Tebow to their all-time greatest team at quarterback.
How about that?
That's pretty good right there. Now, I will say the official announcement said Florida legend Tim Tebow has been named to the first team quarterback of the Associated Press all-time All-American game announced Thursday. So that's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, well, it is. It's a marvelous honor for Tim and all those of us who got a chance to see him play all 4 of his years at Florida. That was special, and that's quite an impressive list. I took a quick glance at it.
Did you?
And if you're on the all-time list of anything, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Tim, and he was certainly a unique football player. I don't know that we've seen anybody else we've seen people that are kind of like him, but I'm not anybody who's exactly like him. He was the combination of speed and power and determination, leadership, and it's quite a package.
It is. And Tony, it's funny because we tend to think of people after they've gone to the pros. And because Tebow did not, quote unquote, make it as a NFL quarterback, although to his dying day, everybody will still think he could have with the right coach, right situation, he was nonetheless a great college quarterback. And I saw him play almost every game, I think. You saw him play a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
And the combination of raw power, speed, will, intelligence, and leadership was really something special. And it was an honor to see him play. And don't forget, people were crazy for Tebow. I think one day ESPN counted how many times his name was mentioned on their network. It was like 156 times. It's crazy. So he was really something special. Isn't it funny how sometimes they don't translate to the next era, and therefore people say, well, he wasn't that good of a player. Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah. I've always been, what you do in the NFL has it to be admired, but it has nothing to do with your time as a college player. And I've never left a guy off of any ballot I've ever done because he didn't make it in the pros. That's the pros. That's something, I respect those guys a lot. But, buddy, I'll tell you my favorite. I got a lot of Tim Tebow stories.
All right, let's hear it.
The first time Florida and Alabama played for the SEC championship, 1 versus 2. And I know some guys on the Alabama staff. I'm down there. I'm working for CBS.
Okay.
And we're doing our pregame show with Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando. And we're talking. I talked to a couple of the guys on the Alabama staff that I knew. And they said he told me they put in some things for Tim that he hadn't seen. We're going to confuse him at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
How long will it take for him to figure it out? Well, as it turns out, right before halftime, I walked off the field and saw the same guy. He said it took him a half to figure out what we would do. And that was the game he came back and just, and that same coach said, "Don't ever tell me that guy can't pass.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't ever tell me that again, because he just beat us throwing the ball."
And that's a quality, and both these guys. Spurrier had that unique quality to beat you in some way, like whether it's a field goal or a touchdown pass or whatever it may be. And the famous story about Shug Jordan standing on the sidelines when Spurrier came to the sideline of that fourth quarter of the Auburn game and put on his kicking shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I'm positive nobody knew but Spurrier what he was doing, because Ray Graves told me he didn't know what he was going to do. And so, of course, he had to okay it. So he came to the sideline, got his shoe, and somebody said to Coach Jordan, "Is Tebow going to kick it?" And he said, "You better hope not, because if he does, he'll make it." And he did, and that won him the Heisman Trophy right there.
Oh, yeah.
That day. So they find a way to beat you. Great players in every respect. And which brings us to modern day and what's going on in college football. And you've got I'm not going to say it's your last season. You got your victory lap. I'm going to call it your victory lap. You're going to go see a lot of people, a lot of games, and you'll show up someplace for sure, I know. And it's really a fascinating season. We got a couple of days on the schedule that are crazy, like September, like August 30th, and I think it's November, isn't it, 11th or something? I've got it here somewhere. The schedule, the game, it's Georgia Florida weekend, and there's like 8 games that are killer games. I mean, and here we already got a great football going on. So it's a great season if I say go out on, but you're not going out. But you get what I mean? I mean, I think I'm going to skip the opening game with LIU in Florida, and because I want to see all those games on that first weekend.
I'm gonna stay at home, but I'm gonna go to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and watch Tennessee play Syracuse. Syracuse won 10 games last year. I want to see Tennessee, but I also want to get back for all those other games, Ohio State and Texas, Alabama, Florida State, LSU, Clemson, for crying out loud, Miami, Notre Dame, all that stuff happens on the 30th.
Sure.
It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. And buddy, I've said this on your show, I don't know how many times. The fact of the matter is, people complain about this is wrong with football. It's not the game I grew up with, on and on and on. Okay, I got all that. But the fact of the matter is the game we watch on the field every Saturday or watch it on television, the game, college football is better than it's ever been right now. More great coaches, more great players, and it's just a neat game. Do we have problems? Yeah. But the adults in the room are going to figure it out. The college football has always adjusted, and it's going to adjust here.
Well, Mr. College Football, you would know, you've seen it, and I think the people I've spoken with, we've said it before, knowing human nature, there's going to be all season belly aching about everything, NIL deals and money, and he's cheating and all this stuff, and it's always been, and will always be. But when they put or they say in Florida, spot the ball, that's their mantra, spot the ball. When they spot the ball and start playing, we don't hear about this stuff much anymore, do we?
No, we don't care. Once the games start, nobody cares what anybody's making. Nobody cares where the money comes from. Nobody cares. They're there to see their team, and I'm just looking forward to going. And remember, we're really only a week away because on the 23rd we got 5 games on the 23rd. None of them are very good, except your boy Dan Mullen is making his debut at UNLV.
Yes, I don't know what to expect there. I'm not sure, but I hear good things. And again, it's so hard to keep up with stuff in your own background. How the heck am I going to keep up what's happening in Vegas? I don't know. You can't see practices. But speaking of Tennessee, and speaking of money, this whole thing with money has gotten really outrageous. Did you see the deal that Tennessee has signed with Adidas?
No.
Oh my word, Tony.
I bet it's a lot.
How about $20 million?
Ooh.
$20 million. And it's designed to feed, as I understand it, what I'm reading is it's designed for the NIL to take some money and go buy some players. I mean, you think about it, 20, and that's a whole new revenue source that we haven't talked about much. Everybody wants you to give, and players, and really we're given out by some schools are just asking for too much. They want blood, and I think some people are getting turned off by it. But it's taking money to run these programs. But this is an assessment, and not a very good one. That somebody wrote on what the new deals are for what they're in Nike and Adidas, etc. Adidas is a new player, although they haven't been very good. $20 million? Are you kidding me? And so then I saw today that an alum gave Kansas $300 million.
Saw that.
Oh yeah, but here's the list, and I'm told, just about what I'm reading, it's not accurate. That it's going to be updated because some of these deals are about up. If you run down this list, it's pretty interesting what this person says on Facebook. Of course, it's the internet, so it's got to be true. But it does give you an idea of where the ranking is. After Tennessee's $20 million, he says Texas has $16 million. That even sounds low. A&M has $9 million. Auburn, $8 million. Kentucky, $7 million. South Carolina, $7 million. LSU, $5.8 million. You hear what I'm saying? There's other schools we haven't talked about. Alabama, $5.25 million. Ole Miss, $4 million. Missouri, $3.2 million. And I haven't mentioned these two yet. Florida, $3 million. And Georgia, $2.8 million. Now, what's wrong with this picture? This is not going to be what it is. There's some of these things that are negotiations. Right. And about to get new deals. LSU's going to get a new one and whatever. But there's so much money out there. I don't know, Tony. What do you think?
We knew there was a lot of money in college football, particularly college athletics, but I don't think any of us ever thought the money would get this big.
No.
But that goes to show you that goes to show you how much money is involved. And these guys aren't just giving money away to give it away.
Right.
They are giving it away
Yeah.
with the expectation of a return on their investment. And so that's it's just amazing how much, particularly what the apparel manufacturers are now doing. Just incredible.
I'm not too crazy. I know people love Jumpman, but as Shane Matthews likes to say, I don't like basketball players on my football uniforms, and that's a very prestigious thing. So it's way over my head, but I'll just say good evening to some of the people here tonight who tuned on to see you. David Baldoff, Dilly Dilly to you. Nat Blaylock over to Lagway. Good evening. Bruce Green, Neo, Tommy Seal. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Many, many people who tune in the show. And tonight, it's always special to have Mr. College Football. Well, Florida had its last open practice today. Our guy was there, Eddie Gilly. He got to see 9 minutes. That's it.
Well,
there's no more after this. 9 minutes. What can you see in 9 minutes? Well, you can see a little bit if you know what you're looking at.
Well, that's the key, buddy. If you know what you're looking at, most of us have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
Coach, when I got to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in 1984, I was the Georgia beat guy, and I went to every single practice and stayed there for every single minute of every single practice. And somebody, I said, Coach Dooley just said, "You guys don't know what you're looking at anyway." So it's not like you're going to. I tell you what changed that, buddy, is the fact that when we got cell phones and you could automatically put stuff out on the internet, and as soon as a player got hurt in practice, now all of a sudden you got parents finding out that their sons have been hurt before they get it from the school, and that's when the coaches started shutting it down.
Yeah, and I go back, and I hate to harken back to the old days because people say, I'm tired of the stories. I don't hear the stories. But it was so drastically different. You remember when the newspaper beat guy was really the guy was a source of information. And if he didn't want it out there, he didn't go out there, especially in towns where sometimes only one or two media guys were at practice. And there were some, including USC. A friend of mine, he covered USC for 2 years. He was the only guy there at USC. And I remember a famous one that Marvin West had when Dickey was coaching there about an injury. And he was asked to hold it out, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it was. Now, it sounds terrible, but you do have to have relationships. And sometimes we probably blinked our eyes, looked the other way a little bit, whatever, to keep that relationship. But boy, anymore, the minute it's here, it's out. Like today already, there's a blurb about Caleb Banks, who's been having a terrific season. And last year with the Florida, going to be a key guy of the defensive line. And apparently he has a leg injury. And now this other guy with the boot, and they're seeing more and more guys with boot. And you start thinking, what is the deal with the boot? Why are there so many injuries? And then people say, well, it's something to do with how they're training or their diet or whatever. No, it's not. And I talked to a very prominent a guy who is a sports medicine authority about this recently. What does it mean something is wrong when players are getting a lot of the same injury? He said unequivocally, no. I said, well, what causes it? He said, well, it's just kind of the law of averages. It's just what happens, and you're going to get injuries, and it's part of football, and you're going to have them. And sometimes you have more of one kind, but it's nothing to do with the training. I don't know what you heard about that, but that sports medicine thing is all part of it, and that we just don't know what's happening. I know that Florida's very happy about a guy they got back last year. Apparently, Jamari Lyons is really going to be a big plus to the defensive line. He had a couple of surgeries and rehab. He said last year when he had the injury, the bone was out of the skin. Now, that's pretty obvious. You don't want to see those. Those are the kind you hate to see. You don't want to see. So injuries are a part of it. It's hard to know. The gamblers seem to be able to get the information, but we don't know much about it, do we?
No, and I saw today where the Big 12 is going to start using player eligibility reports. The other conferences are already doing it. It's something you got to do. The coaches you really have to sit the coaches down, I was told, to let them understand why they really want the information out there. Hiding the information about injuries is more dangerous because now it's more valuable and people are willing to do more and more stuff to get it. So go ahead, like the NFL, have a player availability thing, and that to me that is just being smart.
You know, Tony, you remember a guy named Pete Rozelle. I know the first commissioner of the NFL, and I knew Pete pretty well. He did a smart thing early on. He checked with the bookies to find out if there was any odd action on a game.
Right.
And he wanted the game to be clean and legal and whatever. And that's how they started putting out injury reports. They didn't have injury reports. They had to put the injuries out like on a Thursday afternoon, or they got fined for it. So I think that was a smart thing, don't you?
I think it was a very smart thing. And that's just, to me, that's just part. The one thing I learned about, I know people who are in the gambling business, the wagering business, and you talk to them. He told me, he said, the truth is that the gambling industry is one of the most well-policed industries in the country because it has to be on the up and up, and they do it with complete transparency. And yeah, if there are trends, I understand that the gambling industry, they know about it and they keep tabs on it, and everybody understands what the rules are.
And they'll break your knuckles too, by the way, just so you know. You don't want to mess with those guys. All right, so we're hearing a lot about a lot. We're trying to decide, and here you are down to your final 2 weeks. As you're kind of putting the eyeball on these teams. We got the run-of-the-mill, not run-of-the-mill. We know everybody loves Texas and Georgia. We go back to last year when Texas got beat twice by Georgia, I believe, right? Did they?
Correct.
And we go back to this year and say, what's going on in Alabama? Is he going to be able to keep that thing rolling? And there's going to be some surprises. A lot of people are throwing out names of teams, and I'm trying to figure out Texas A&M. You know, Elko's a good football coach. They got some good players, but I don't know. They can't all win, and so.
Well,
go ahead.
How about this, buddy? How many teams in college football can say we returned 7 of our top 8 offensive linemen?
Not many, if any.
Texas A&M.
Yeah,
that's
Florida.
Texas A&M.
Florida has 6 or 5 or 6. Yeah, that's great. And Texas A&M's got a lot of talent, but do they have the ability to pull it off there now?
No.
They got their, in that state, and they're going to face them. You got to look at the schedule. They're a team a lot of people like. The team is getting a lot of run is Oklahoma. I'm not so sure now about that.
Well, that has a lot to do with the transfer quarterback coming in from Washington State.
Yeah.
And I've talked to some people who have seen him play in person who are really impressed with this young man. But again, you're playing SEC defenses with SEC speed, and maybe you didn't have that in the Pac-12. So I'm kind of anxious to see how it turns out. Yeah, Oklahoma, everybody says they're going to make a quantum leap, but the problem is it's just hard to come back simply because you've got to play somebody good every week.
Yeah.
Other than the cupcakes you schedule yourself, the conference games are really, really tough. I think Vanderbilt's a great storyline. What's going to happen to them? Do they build on what they did last year with Pavia, or do they drop back in the loop? What's going to happen there? Alabama's a fascinating story. Do they take? They won 9 games last year, and you would have thought the world was coming to an end. And do they improve? They get their offensive coordinator back. Do they improve? So there's a lot of, and Georgia. We don't know how good Georgia is. I think they're pretty good, but they've got to replace 4 out of the top 5 offensive linemen. So we don't know. That's why we play the games.
Yeah, we can't play them now, but we sure like to. I'm going to put a list up here in a second. We expect to have Franz Beard join us here in a minute, and maybe Ben Troop, and I'll let you go in a minute. I know you got things to do, but I thought this was a fascinating list. I think I got it from On3, yeah. And they have gave us a list of the overrated teams. Okay, who they are, and you look at them and say, like, there's several on there that are controversial. Oklahoma being one, LSU being one. A lot of people don't believe in Brian Kelly, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Texas A&M one. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen here, and we're gonna talk about it for a second because this is another way of looking at it. You see that right there? Can you read that?
I can.
Okay, so there's their list. If you look at that first row, 1 through 5, there's some really interesting teams on there. And I'm going to ask you to go down a couple and buy or sell. Buy that they're going to be get there, or sell that they're not. Okay. Let's start down there at let's start at number 9 with Miami. Buy or sell.
Sell.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Oklahoma, buy or sell.
Buy.
Okay, so they're at 8 right there now. All right. And Oregon shouldn't even be on there, in my opinion. But I buy them. I think they're going to be in there someplace. You buy Oregon.
Buy.
Florida State.
Sell.
Got to sell it. And what's he going to do this year if things go bad?
No.
And then
you got to prove to everybody that the 13-1 was an aberration and not.
Right.
You gotta prove that. You gotta beat Miami. You gotta beat Clemson. You gotta beat somebody.
Yes. Yeah, and you're right. That's the thing. Like they say, put it on tape. Let's figure it out. See what happens. And I thought this is an interesting way of looking at it. And I will say that I think I can make some decisions based on this. And let me just go to the next couple here. There's Wisconsin. I don't really know. I can't. I don't see him any.
Just not Luke Fickell's the head coach.
Yeah,
we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say neither on that one. Now, I'm going to surprise you on this one. LSU. I'm going to sell.
Nope. I'm a buyer. I'm big on LSU. They're my dark horse team.
A lot of people are, and I can see why, because they had an unbelievable year in the portal. They got Nussmeyer coming back at quarterback. They got some really good defense, but Brian Kelly's lost how many games so far? Like 10 or 11? I don't know. There's quite a few of them there. So, and then I'm gonna bring Ben Troop in here too for this last couple of the ones we're doing on the buy and sell, and then we're gonna take a little break and do a spot. Good evening to you, Mr. Troop. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How you doing?
Good. We're doing this buy and sell on these teams here. These are the on threes, top 25 most overrated teams. We're just doing the top 9. So far, Tony and I have agreed to sell Miami. I think Tony bought OU. I did not. Oregon, we both buy. We both sell FSU. I mean, we don't think they're going to get it done. Wisconsin's kind of a draw. And then we're on LSU. And I'm selling LSU and Tony's buying it. Where are you?
I'm selling as LSU because the only way LSU is going to be good, halfway decent, if they have a Heisman Trophy candidate or a Heisman Trophy winner, potentially at the quarterback position. I don't see that in Nussmeyer. Brian Kelly is a good coach, not a great coach. I'm selling him.
Okay. This is a very interesting team. And Tony, now this is what started our conversation, Tony. A team that's got, what did you say, 6 out of 7 or
7 out of 8
offensive linemen. They got a real good quarterback and a good coach, and they got playing in the state of Texas against the other team that has Texas on its name. Texas A&M. Tony, buy or sell?
Buy, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the ledge here, but I'm going to say sell. Ben?
I'm buying them for what they showed. With what they showed last year, I mean, they was a game away from being the team that played Georgia in the SEC championship game. Came up a game short. I'm buying them in 2025. 2025, I'm buying them.
If Marcel Reed can stay healthy.
Okay. And then Auburn. Who wants to go?
Third year of Hugh Freeze. Mm-hmm. You're gonna buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think because Hugh Freeze understands that there are no more mulligans, there are no more trying to get the culture right. I'm buying them because I think Hugh Freeze has got to have a big year this year.
I think that number one is SC and not South Carolina.
That's SC. That's the
Yeah.
Trojans. That's the Trojans.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure about them. I don't have an opinion. You guys?
Don't know USC. No,
Yeah.
Don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Don't know.
Yeah. I'll hold on SC. They're gonna have a really, really good recruiting class. Obviously, Lincoln Riley is known for developing quarterbacks. I don't know who's next in line, but I'm gonna hold on SC too. I mean, the fact that they play UCLA on Friday nights and they ain't in the Pac-12 no more, I don't even know when I could catch a SC game no more.
Yeah, that's true too. Getting the games. Now, it's a couple of other teams down here, Tony. I want you to hold on 1 second while I do this quick commercial. One of them's yours. They're 12, and you got another one down here and with the big paw print. You know who that is. So we come back, we'll get Tony's and Ben's opinion about these two teams. I'm going to tell you first about our sponsors. Certainly, our friend Jeffrey Mellon, who will be on the show next Wednesday, back from a fabulous trip to Europe and Asia. I think the last time he sent me a picture was from Pompeii. Said it was fabulous. He and his wife Patricia just got back, and now they're getting into serious stuff, which is football and law. Those are the two things, and goddamn it, he loves those Gators. Remember, Mellon Law is the only official law firm for the University of Florida, and they will help you find the right people to handle your case. If they don't have them there in one of the 4 locations, Ocala, Gainesville, Lake City, or Williston, they'll help you find the right one, and they will do a good job for you. I know I've used them. I'm using it right now. Mellon Law, they won't back down. Tony, the Georgia Bulldogs down here at 14 are troublesome. I can't make up my mind on this Georgia team, and right behind them is Alabama and then Clemson. There's 3 teams that could get your attention. Buy or sell, they're overrated, underrated. What do you think, Tony?
You're going to definitely buy Georgia. You definitely buy Georgia. You definitely buy Alabama, and you definitely buy Clemson. Those are all high value. Clemson's got the best defensive line in the country. Cade Klubnik, the quarterback's been in the program for 5 years. They feel good, and their schedule is set up very, very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that leaves what? That leaves Alabama and Clemson. All right, so you're buying all 3 of those?
Absolutely.
All right. Ben?
All 3 of those teams, buddy, are going to be in the playoffs.
Okay, that's valid. I can't argue it. I'm not as positive about Clemson as everybody else is, but they got Klubnik. Everybody loves him, and when they got a quarterback, everybody wants to give him a shot. So we'll see. But all right, so Tony, so Ben, come back on this.
I mean, I'm buying all 3 too. I mean, I think the thing about Clemson is this: Dabo Swinney is the guy that he's saying, look, I know that everybody thinks that Kirby Smart is the best coach in the country, and I know that Ohio State and Michigan won the last 2 national championships. My resume is pretty solid as well. No, he don't got Trevor Lawrence and a Deshaun Watson, but Klubnik, he's supposed to be really, really good, and he's supposed to be able to take them back to not just winning the ACC, but being one of the top teams in the country. I'm never going to bet against Georgia because regardless of what they got at quarterback, I know what they got as a team. Kirby Smart has built this team to be good no matter who they got at quarterback. Stetson Bennett ain't running out of there, but I think they got a good enough quarterback to help them, get back in the playoffs. And Coach DeBoer, he realized 1 year, hey, man, this ain't going to cut it. You can't be on the outside looking in. You cannot get embarrassed by Oklahoma, and you cannot lose to Vanderbilt. I don't see neither one of those things happening. Alabama going to get back to their winning ways. I'm buying all 3.
Yeah, and Tony, I understand Kirby's used that phrase over and over again. What is it? Passion and those 3 words he likes to use. And he's got a guy running around who's his cheerleader sort of guy. You know about this, right? And they give him a headgear to wear. Is that right?
Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about, buddy.
Well, but I've been reading that they've got a designated guy. It's like whoever the most impassioned, hustles the most.
Oh, okay.
Whatever they give him and it's not red. It's like yellow and blue headgear to designate him as the guy who's the most spirited in the effort to say it. So Tony, he talked about it at the SEC Media Days about how he wanted to make sure that they were passionate and they showed up and they gave their all. So What can you tell me? Anything?
No, other than I know he wants them to play at a very, very high level
Yeah.
of intensity and that, but these, I'm not real big on these side deals and all that.
Yeah.
Just explain to me why your offensive lineman is going to move their defensive lineman. Let me know how that's going to work.
I'm sure you don't like some of the celebrations that they have, all these objects they bring around and what have you. I'm sure you're not a fan of those, Tony, as well, being old school.
I am old school. I'll admit that.
Say hello, good evening, and good night to Franz Beard, Tony. Thank you very much for joining us on the show tonight. And what's going on with you next in terms of what's the next stop?
The next stop is, as a matter of fact, I've been working on my schedule today. My next stop is this. I'm speaking in Memphis on Monday. Then I'm going over to see Coach Kiffin over at Ole Miss. So that's my next stop. I've set up Oklahoma stop. I've set up Texas A&M stop. So we are on our way.
Tony, could you explain to me how it is that Lane Kiffin seems to be able to take in 86 transfers and make it work and win, and nobody else can seem to work with more than 5?
That's a good observation, Franz, and it's my belief in the transfer portal is the way it should work is your base of your program needs to be high school players, but then you use the portal to fill in gaps where you're thin and you need help there, and that's what I don't think you can make a living in the transfer portal. Now, having said all that, Lane Kiffin has done it. He has done the best job of anybody I know of bringing in tons of guys from the portal and making it work. But sooner or later, you're going to miss. Yeah, you're going to miss on a class, and it's going to be difficult. But give him credit. Every year, he's got a quarterback, and he's got probably one of the 2 or 3 best wide receiver rooms in all of college football, and he deserves a lot. He deserves a lot of credit for that.
For sure. And I want to get to some stuff on the Gators, but before I do, Tony, you should take a trip next year again, and you go to all the famous places like Dream Man and Spurrier's, all these great places to eat. Do your own food tour next year. Come back for
we had a blast at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Yeah, it was great.
Good. The staff was great, and we appreciate the support of Coach Spurrier and Jerry. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great night, and once again, I talked to Allie Peak Wilbur, and she said, I'm thinking, how did I get in this room? I feel like I walked into the wrong room with all these great players in here, whatever. Tony, thanks a lot, buddy. You take care. I'm looking forward to talking to you during the ball season. Have a good one, all right?
All right, guys. Take care.
Take care, Tony.
The great Tony Barnhart. All right, Tony Barnhart. All right, so, guys, today at practice, we had a few guys out there. We had our guy actually out there, Eddie Gilly, and we saw some things, not much. Among the things that they saw Wilson Trey in uniform, which is a welcome sight, I might add. And he wrote a really good piece, I will say, on what you can see in 9 minutes. And you, France, you've been there, and Ben, you never had to suffer through this because you have access and we don't. But so it's going to be an interesting time. That's the last open practice, guys, right there. So there you go. That's it. France, you got stuff you can write for the next 2 weeks without talking?
Well, we'll figure it out. And fortunately, we're coming down close to the season anyway, and Billy, I'm sure will get peppered with about 10 dozen questions Monday regarding. I think they'll have their last scrimmage Saturday, and I'm sure he'll get hammered with questions that maybe he doesn't even want to answer. But I keep hearing good stuff. I keep hearing really good stuff. Trey Wilson back being good. He was out the other day, and apparently that was really, really good that he was back in there. Trayon Webb, Khalil Jackson, they're still not doing anything. Dallas Wilson, I understand, will be back. The only one that really concerned, Caleb Banks was in a non-contact today. I don't think that's anything serious. Just
leg. It's another leg situation. And
yeah.
as someone said, watch for the boots. Everybody's got a boot on.
Yeah, sprained ankles get sprained in practice,
or knees or whatever.
And let's face it, they do most of their practicing indoors on artificial turf, which doesn't give like grass.
True.
True. And so you're going to, this time of year, with so much of the practice indoors on artificial turf, you're going to get sprained ankles.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of a single injury yet that's going to keep anybody out of the season opener.
No.
That's a good thing. And that's the good news.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get Dallas Wilson back because being a freshman, he
was in full dress today. He didn't participate in any contact drills.
Yeah, it was not in contact, but he was dressed out. Mm-hmm. But just the same, as Ben can tell you, in high school, nobody chucked Ben Troop. Everybody was scared to death of him because when Ben Troop came off the line of scrimmage, some 155-pound kid is going to sit there and say, have your way this way, Mr. Troop. But you get to college and it's no longer Mr. Troop, it's rookie, and they start beating up on you. And you sit there saying, nobody's ever done this to me. I'm Ben Troop. Don't you know that? I am Ben Troop. And suddenly people are beating up on you.
I don't beat up on Ben Troop, I can tell you that.
I don't either. But that's the same with every rookie skill guy, is he's got to get used to the fact that people who've never beat on them before are suddenly going to beat on them. And you got to get used to it.
Yeah. Let me get to some point I want to make here because it's important. And standing by is Alan Barney, who's one of our new writers. And I had an extraordinary time today with a guy who's just a bright spot in college football, Jake Slaughter. And I had a chance and have him on and talk to him. I've got a piece I'm working on. Hope to soon have him on the air. Alan Barney was there and heard the interview. It's just a really, really great, was a very, very good time in that. I'm going to bring Alan on. Yes, Alan, I can see you. I know you're here. Hold on one second. Yeah, there he is right here. All right. Alan, say hello to Ben and Franz. Alan's been doing a really good job of covering the Gators for us. Ocala guy, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, anytime, man. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good to see you, Alan.
Yes, sir. Good to see you again. You were talking about the Jake Slaughter interview earlier.
Haven't gotten into it at all. I just wanted to say, no, you go ahead, because I think, and I'm going to bring Lauren Meadows on here with us too. It was a terrific time with him, and we'll be able to get to that. Just for a minute, I'm going to keep you. And Jake Slaughter is an unusual person. In fact, go ahead and let you make the point you made. You heard the interview. It was not only fun to do, but informative, bright, intelligent guy who's really one of the best football players in the country, and is going to get drafted high. Good evening to Lauren Meadows. Say hello to Alan Barney and their guys.
How you doing, Alan? Welcome to the team. What's up, fellas?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And you're just at the right time, because of the two things I want to present here in the next 10 minutes or so. Number one, how lucky we are to have guys like Tim Tebow, who just got named to the all-time All-American team of the AP, all-time. We know he's got a lot of honors, but that's a great one. And now on a smaller scale, not comparing him to Tim Tebow, you got a guy like our homeboy, Alan, who's just a delightful person. He's done some really interesting things. And right now, Slaughter is on every team. We met him today, All-American. He made All-American last year. One team. One guy named him the best offensive player, period. Not just a position player, anywhere. So he had an interesting discussion today. Go ahead, Alan, and state what your take on it was.
Yeah, so it was interesting. Being a first interview, I really got to see get in depth with a player, and Slaughter coming from the same area I'm from, Ocala, Spar. It was cool to see. It's been an evolution from him coming from Trinity Catholic High School up here to Florida. And it was interesting for him to talk about when he first got to Florida under Dan Mullen. He admitted he wasn't physically ready for the SEC or in the college game, and it took him some time. And for me, that speaks volumes to his character and his work ethic to, even under a new coaching staff, continue to push hard, work through it, get better every day. And now this is the result that Gator fans are seeing with him being an All-American last year and projected to be a second round pick in the draft.
First round, definitely a first round, yeah.
And heading into what could be a huge year for him, and being the leader of not only the offensive line, but of the team itself. Just a great player to have. And it was interesting, to hear about how his NIL deal came about with the Traeger grills, talking about his passion for cooking and how he was able to parlay that into something that was beneficial for himself and a passion besides football. So
I've been hiding that for about 6 months since I've known about it. He made his own NIL deal with the Traeger people and got a grill and all that stuff. All you got to do is just make sure you take a picture with it. And he did that, and he had a freshman deal, and he wore it out. He cooked so much, he and his roommate wore it out, and it was delightful. So, all right, so Ben, let me ask you this question. How does a guy get that much better? He talked about his journey, about how he got smarter. He said Graham Mertz was an absolute genius at reading defenses. He has to make the calls as a center, and that's not easy. He's intelligent. He does a terrific job on the protection. He's a very strong guy. He's quick. He's a leader, and he's making everybody's All-American team. Ben, and this guy has maximized his experience as a Gator, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gets better because he's intentional. I mean, with everything going on in college football, with NIL and all these distractions, he's all about football. He realized, look, this is the only shot I'm gonna get to make the best impression I'm gonna make. And when you're intentional, everything else comes to you. Like, you don't have to chase stuff. He has become attractive to the things that he wants because he's really good at what he does. When you're really good at what you do, a lot of stuff come to you. And we talk about legacies at Florida as if to say the center legacy ain't big. That's a big legacy. Them are big shoes to fill. I always say the center don't got to be the best O-lineman. He got to be the smartest. And that's what he is. But he's also the best O-lineman for us. So it's not a surprise. And as hard as it is to get a brick, people want to know, how do you look after you get a brick? Like when you come back, because sometimes you get a brick and you go on to the NFL. I don't want to mess with that legacy. No, man. Can you be an All-American twice? It's hard to be it once, but can you do it twice? And I think he relishes in that. I mean, when you look at Slaughter, he don't look like a guy that, that cares a lot about how people think about him. I'm talking about the outside. He cares about his teammates and wanting to be the best player. And like I said, at the end of this year, when our offensive line is the bedrock of the team, that's going to make the whole team better. That's definitely going to make them skill guys feel good about it. But Jake Slaughter can do no wrong because he plays the right way. He does things the right way. His teammates love him. I play with guys like Zach Zadelis and Mike DeGore. When you got guys like Mike DeGore, I mean, not that he cares now. We try to do the whole welcome the freshman in. We told Mike DeGore to drink a bottle of Tabasco sauce. He drunk it and walked off. He didn't burn his chest or nothing. I mean, I'm like, oh, that's our new center right there. Like, yeah, he drunk it and walked off. I mean, Tabasco. And I'm like, after that, he was like, he looked at us like, is that it? That's all y'all got? Like, yeah, dude. I mean, we don't know nothing about no jalapeno peppers around here, brother. We don't know nothing about that. So, but no, I mean, I'm happy for Jake because I think he's our best player because he's at a position that he can protect DJ, which is very important. And guys listen to him, and he's respected throughout the entire squad. You think Banks is as good as he is because look who he goes against in 2 days. That's not a coincidence that our best D lineman interior just happens to go up against our best O lineman. So yeah, I'm happy for him. And like I said, I know that Pouncey, I think, got inducted into, I don't know which one, got inducted into the okay, Marquis got inducted into the. You coming behind players like that. Offensive line in Florida is about as prolific as any other position that on the field. You got some great guys you came behind. The legacy is intact. I just feel bad for who's going to come behind him in 2026 because I'm telling you, you're going to expect that level of play when he's no longer a Florida Gator.
Yeah, and Bill Carr, by the way, was from Pensacola, was an All-American center in all academics, whatever. I got to get Lauren in here real fast, Franz, and you'll be next. Go ahead, Lauren. Your take on what Jake has done.
Well, Jake Slaughter is just. I remember, buddy, when you first noticed Jake and when they signed him, and people were kind of low on him, and you kept pushing and talking about what a great young man he was coming from there in Marion County. And I mean, you just talk about a guy that's just took the coaching, took to the weight room, and really built himself to be the top center in the country. And I'm more intrigued. I got to get with him because I got a Traeger and I haven't been able to master it yet. So
I think you got to do it.
I need to. Okay, well, I need to get with him and see what he could do on my Traeger. But obviously, he's the heart of that 5 = 1 that the offensive line rolls through, and I think he, being there, I think he made Damian George better. I think he makes Najee Harris better, and I could tell you straight up the respect that Austin Barber has for him. They're extremely close, and Austin speaks very highly of him. So I always say the best flattery is what you get from your peers, and they all rally behind him. And I think he's their leader, and this is an offensive line that's got a lot to prove, and his heart and soul is Jake Slaughter.
Friends?
Well, I'll tell you 2 things that I loved about Jake Slaughter. One of them is Graham Mertz told me, he said, Jake Slaughter from day one that he knew him because you got to remember Graham came in from Wisconsin. He said Jake Slaughter every day goes out there with the idea he's going to be the best teammate anybody's got. He said he revels in being the best possible teammate. And that's, it's easy. We say, okay, well, you want to be the best center or you want to be the best weightlifter on the team or the best blocker or whatever. There's something to be said about being the best teammate because that's the guy that cares about every single person on that ball club. And he does. And the second thing I can tell you about him is he's the first center we've had since Marquise Pouncey that could handle the nose tackle one-on-one. Marquise Pouncey could do it. We haven't had a center since then who could handle the nose tackle one-on-one. They've all had to have help. Jake Slaughter, in spite of the fact that he's only about 305, 310, something like that, some of these centers, some of these nose tackles weigh 340, 350 and up. I have yet to see a nose tackle that he couldn't handle one-on-one. That is, let me say that, since the Utah game. the Utah game in Utah, which was his first start.
Yeah. Let me do this. I know there's still got babysitting responsibilities. Alan, I know you got to go and you think go back to, but thank you for your thoughts. And we'll hopefully read something you write soon on Jake Slaughter. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.
Who's sir? I'm sorry.
Right. Go ahead, Fran.
Sir? Sir was my dad. He ain't here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, Jake Slaughter can handle the nose tackle one-on-one. That may not sound like much, but when you got when your center doesn't have to have help, he can help somebody else. He can be that guy that picks up that rogue blitzer, etc., like that. And Jake Slaughter is the guy that can do that. He is. I used to kid Graham Mertz and say, you and Jake Slaughter share a brain, and he said it does seem that way, doesn't it? Because they they could literally finish each other's sentences. They were so close.
Yeah, well, he'll tell you, Slaughter will tell you that Ray Mertz taught him a lot about protection. So he could look at it and see right away what it was. And people don't realize, Lauren, what a big part of that job is for the center, to be able to go up there and recognize that right away. And he's got to protect the franchise there too. So I couldn't be more impressed with Jake Slaughter. I'm proud to call him a homeboy, and I know his dad's proud of him as well. And his dad's the Sherwin Williams head of in paint guy. I said, you know what? When you get those big awards like the Remington Award, he can go paint the town, right? There you go. Paint the town. All right, we got about 2.5, 3 minutes left. I'm gonna give each of you something to take from what you know as of we speak that you are most excited about this team in the spring. And as far as you know, starting with you, Ben.
I mean, I'm most excited about the fact that when guys go down, nobody should panic because we have that type of depth. Injuries are going to happen in football. You hope it's never the quarterback in a key position that can hurt you. But if you looking, I mean, I'm not going to talk about this future quarterback that we got coming potentially. I'm going to save that for another day. Yeah. But what we're doing is reloading, not in the transfer portal, through recruiting. People saying, don't nobody recruit high school athletes no more. BS. They do at Florida. Every time you turn the tick, I see the little sparkles going up, and here we got another one. But they're doing that with the current roster as well. And with all the receivers we talk about, I know we got the law offices of, and I know one of them is down right now. But VB3,
he was back at practice today.
I know, but watch out for VB3. And to the young lady that asked me what is Squirrel, Squirrel is his nickname, and it is also a dance. It's a dance called a Squirrel. His nickname is Squirrel. His daddy went there, and now that Brown legacy about to be serious. I'm looking forward to seeing that young man, whether in the slot or on the outside.
VB3, he's something else, Lauren.
No doubt. Those receivers, we've talked at length. We know what we're getting with those guys, and it's going to be unbelievable. And like I said, anybody that's coached by the man, Billy G, is going to be ready to play. So the Gators always put the receivers out there. But I want to shout out Nathaniel Rogers. If you call Percy Harvin a glorified fullback, turn in your Gator fan card.
He's not.
Because he was so much more. But but anyway, I'm excited to see if this defense is ready to take the next step and continue on from the last 4 games. Mike Peterson and I talked in the offseason, and he had a real gleam in his eye about the guys that he had and those young guys that are coming on. And he really feels like, you're talking about a guy that spent 14 years in the NFL. He knows what it looks like, won a national title, and he was really pleased with the way that his guys were coming along in the spring and in the offseason. So I'm excited to see what that defensive front in particular can bring. And it's going to be fun because if they're as good as advertised and as good as these coaches think they're going to be, then this defense could be pretty good.
All right, fans, you got 55 seconds.
I like the fact that you've got a team that can win every which way you need to win. If you need to outscore people, they can do it. They need to run it, you can do it. You need to throw it, you can do it. You need to win it with defense. They got the people that can do it. First time in 4 years that we've had a team that you could go out there and you could say, they can win every way. They got special teams that are good enough to win games as well. This is a complete team that's been put together. And give Billy credit. He's kind of slogged through all kinds of crap to get to this point. And now all of a sudden he's got a ball club that he put together by himself. And maybe some people will start giving him a little bit of credit for a change.
There you go. Good job. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Lauren. And thanks, Franz. Good job, guys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, folks.
All right.
I'll tell you about our sponsor tonight. Of course, we've always got Melton Law. We're glad to have them. I have Jeffrey with us next week with Titan MRI Imaging. Not Titan MRI Imaging, it's called. It used to be called just Titan MRI. They've done a terrific job. Joe Clorio has been over there leading the way now, and they have 3 locations to serve you: 2 in Gainesville, Park Avenue, and now Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City as well, serving Columbia County and Valdosta. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service as always. If you can't be there during the day, they make a nighttime reservation for you. So they accept insurance through the convenient self-pay option, and they offer MRI, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling with lots of options. Also have those bigger MRI machines for patient comfort. Check them out. Coming your way soon, be in Ocala, as a matter of fact, too. So Titan MRI Imaging, one of our great sponsors here. Have a great night, folks. We're back at you